AI mastery versus the 9 to 5. Why Gen Z entrepreneurs will thrive as jobs evolve in the midst of a shifting job landscape. One fact stands out. Those who learn to harness artificial intelligence, AI, are poised to succeed in the coming decades, even as traditional 9 to 5 employment declines. New economic trends show conventional corporate job paths giving way to freelancing and tech-driven entrepreneurship, especially for Gen Z. At the same time, AI tools are becoming a force multiplier for productivity, essentially acting as digital employees that can supercharge a small business. This report analyzes why AI proficiency is emerging as a key driver of future success, with a focus on Gen Z's unique position to benefit by embracing AI as part of their venture instead of resisting it. Show more lines the decline of the traditional 9 to 5 job for much of the last century. The standard career model was straightforward. Get a degree, land a stable 9 to 5 job, and climb the corporate ladder until retirement. That model is now visibly cracking. Younger workers are increasingly opting out of traditional employment in favor of flexible, self-directed work, or finding that the traditional jobs simply aren't there anymore. Gen Z is rejecting the old career path. In 2023, more than half of Gen Z professionals in the U.S., 52%, engaged in freelance work, a rate nearly double that of Gen X, 30%, and roughly twice that of boomers. Moreover, 53% of Gen Z freelancers report working full-time hours, 40-plus hours/week, on freelance gigs, often juggling multiple projects in a portfolio career. This signals a deliberate move away from the conventional corporate 9 to 5. Upwork's research concludes Gen Z is increasingly rejecting conventional 9 to 5 jobs and fully embracing freelancing as a career choice, motivated not just by necessity, but by values like autonomy and flexibility. Upwork.com, inc.com, freelancing by choice, not just chance. Unlike prior generations who might view gig work as a stopgap, Gen Z freelancers see it as a preferred lifestyle. Surveys find that 70% of Gen Z freelance workers chose that path for the schedule flexibility, and 61% say it gives them more control over their personal development and career trajectory. In other words, many young people want more dynamic, self-driven careers instead of a single employer and fixed routine. inc.com, shrinking entry-level opportunities. At the same time, even those who do seek traditional jobs face headwinds. A recent Stanford University study found early career jobs are evaporating in fields heavily exposed to AI automation. Employment for 22 to 25-year-olds in highly AI-exposed occupations, like customer service, accounting, and junior software roles, fell by 13% from 2022 to mid-2025. Notably, young software developers saw nearly a 20% drop in employment since their 2022 peak, even while older workers in those fields kept their jobs or grew in number. This suggests traditional entry-level rungs are being pruned away, in part due to AI-driven efficiency and hiring cutbacks. In fact, major employers are scaling back campus recruitment. PwC announced it will cut new graduate hiring by about 1/3 in coming years, explicitly citing that the rapid pace of technological change is reshaping how we work. CNBC.com, BusinessInsider.com, the broken social contract. For Gen Z, who are encouraged to follow the classic playbook, study hard, get a degree, apply for corporate jobs, the outcome often feels like a breach of promise. As one veteran finance executive observed, they did everything you told them. And where's my job? That social contract feels broken. With youth unemployment rates far above overall averages, e.g. 10.8% for young U.S. workers versus 4.3% overall as of mid-2025, many in Gen Z are concluding that the old formula just doesn't guarantee security or satisfaction in today's market. BusinessInsider.com, BusinessInsider.com, WeForum.org, bottom line, traditional 9 to 5 employment is no longer the reliable default. Both by choice and by necessity, Gen Z is pioneering new career models, freelancing, job hopping, and entrepreneurship, to escape the constraints and uncertainties of legacy employment structures. Gen Z's entrepreneurial mindset and the rise of AI skills, if the ladder up the corporate ranks is missing rungs, Gen Z is finding sideways paths, building careers on their own terms. A defining trait of this generation is its comfort with technology and willingness to learn new tools. That trait is converging with the rise of AI. AI is not just a buzzword for Gen Z. It's becoming a baseline skill set for the future of work. Several trends highlight this. Digital natives eager to leverage tech. Gen Z grew up with the internet and smartphones at their fingertips, so adapting to emerging tech like AI comes naturally. In fact, Gen Z workers are among the quickest adopters of AI in the workplace. Over half, around 55%, report using AI regularly on the job. Upwork's data shows 61% of Gen Z freelancers are already using generative AI tools in their work, significantly higher usage than their Gen Z peers in traditional jobs. Only 40% of Gen Z employees. They're using AI for tasks like writing, coding, design, and research. This enthusiasm gives Gen Z a head start in the AI-driven economy. WeForum.org, Upwork.com, INC.com. Freedom to innovate. One reason independent young workers embrace AI more is that they're not held back by corporate bureaucracy. A Gen Z freelancer doesn't need a manager's approval or a formal training program to try the latest AI tool. They can just start using it. This has led to faster adoption of productivity boosters. By contrast, 45% of U.S. executives admit they haven't invested in AI tools for their staff yet, and many employees haven't received any AI training at work. Gen Z entrepreneurs and freelancers are seizing the advantage by self-learning AI and integrating it into their workflow, while some large firms are slower to move. This nimbleness can level the playing field for a young startup competing with a larger incumbent. INC.com. Entrepreneurial ambitions. Surveys consistently find that Gen Z is highly entrepreneurial. Even within the freelance cohort, many ultimately aim to found companies. An Upwork study, a segment of Gen Z identified as company founders, though still a small share at 3%. Beyond the data, experts are actively encouraging Gen Z to start their own businesses in the age of AI disruption. Quentin Nason, a 35-year finance veteran, urges young people to stop chasing shrinking graduate jobs and instead chase tomorrow's jobs by creating their own ventures in emerging fields like AI, robotics, and blockchain. The logic is simple. If AI is eliminating many traditional entry-level roles, the best hedge is to be the person designing or leveraging the AI, not the one competing with it. Upwork.com, BusinessInsider.com. BusinessInsider.com. AI training as the new upskilling priority. Recognizing the demand for AI-savvy talent, many employers say they'll prioritize these skills. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, 77% of employers plan to provide AI and big data training to their staff by 2030, and 85% plan to upskill/reskill workers in general. This is a clear signal that tomorrow's jobs, even those not outright replaced by automation, will require working alongside AI. Gen Z's head start in AI adoption could make them especially valuable hires and successful founders in the near future. It's telling that 41% of global companies expect to reduce their workforce by 2030 due to technology adoption, but about 70% of companies also plan to hire new specialists adapted to these technologies. In other words, firms will hire people who know how to use AI to drive value, while cutting roles that have become automatable. The takeaway for a young worker or entrepreneur: developing AI skills now is likely to pay off in spades as demand for those skills rises. WeForum.org. Wage premiums for AI skills. Already today, there's concrete evidence that knowing how to use AI makes an individual more successful in terms of earnings. A 2025 global analysis by PwC found that job postings requiring AI skills offer dramatically higher pay, an average 56% salary premium over similar roles that don't require AI. That premium jumped from 25% the year before, highlighting how quickly AI proficiency is becoming a highly rewarded asset. Moreover, the number of jobs listing AI skills is growing fast, up 7.5% year over year, even as overall job postings declined by 11%. In short, employers are hungry for AI-literate talent, and they're willing to pay extra for it. Whether Gen Z chooses to join a company or start their own, Those who've learned to ride the AI wave will have a clear income and opportunity advantage. Airporter, America.com. Insight. Far from being robot job takers, AI tools are shaping up to be job makers and enhancers for those who master them. As companies large and small increasingly put AI front and center to transform how they operate, individuals must do the same for their own careers. Airporter, America.com. The coming decades will undoubtedly bring more disruption across industries, but they also hold incredible promise. A future where a solo entrepreneur can run a globally scalable company with AI, or where a small team uses AI to solve problems once thought unsolvable, is no longer science fiction. It's already starting to happen. For Gen Z, the path to performing extraordinarily well in this evolving landscape is paved with AI. Embracing that path, learning, adapting, and continually leveraging AI as it advances, could turn today's ambitious young innovators into the business success stories of tomorrow. In short, master AI, and you master your own future. The decline of the old 9-to-5 is not the end of opportunity, but the beginning of a new one for those bold enough to seize it. BusinessInsider.com, European View, Review.com. Sources provide your feedback on BizChat. Summarize the key takeaways for a podcast intro. Add real-world Gen Z entrepreneur examples.